Hi, Peter Charles here of Hooked for Life Fly Fishing. Today we're going to do another Atlantic salmon fly from Canada. It's the Orange Riffle from Newfoundland, tied by Rob Solo, and it's meant for the riffle hitch. So that's a way of keeping your fly up on the surface, creating a wake, coming across the current. And might want to look up the riffle hitch technique if you want to give it a try. I know some people do it for steelhead as well, so here's a fly you can use for it. So let's get started and look at materials. I'm going to be using this low water salmon single in the size 4. Our thread is the usual Vivas 80 black. You're going to use this medium gold oval tinsel. The body is Unifloss black. We're going to be using orange hackle for the throat. And we're going to have 2 wings. It calls for black bear, but I'm going to be using black squirrel and natural gray squirrel. So let's get started. Now we're going to start this thread further back on the return because it is a riffle hitch pattern, so we have to leave some space at the front of the hook. And the body's not long, so I'm going to bring my thread back to the hook point. Now tie in our rib. Now the floss. Now the floss. We're going to make 3 passes with the floss, and we're going to make sure we don't have that bump at the back showing. So I'll start my floss a little further down. Just bring it up a little bit onto the return. Come back. We go on to the bump. So you can see you've got quite a smooth body there with allowing for that bump. And we'll now trim off the floss. And now we'll do the rib. Turn at the back, then come forward. Now at this point I'm going to deviate slightly from the pattern. It calls for a collar, which is then pulled down, stripped down. You could do that if you want. I'm just going to tie in more of a conventional throat. My hackle is not this orange hackle is cheap crap and it's not the best. So I already tried wrapping this hackle, and the quill was so weak it keep breaking, so I thought, oh, screw it. Sometimes when you have cheap materials, this is what happens. Okay, now we're going to tie in first the black. And the black is a little heavier than the natural gray squirrel. but I don't want this wing to be too bulky. It's not quite the length of the hook. I'm just going to bring my thread back a bit, because we do not want to crowd the eye of the hook. Get that bound down tight. So squirrel is slippery, so you want to make sure you're tightly bound down to avoid pulling out. And make sure it's straight. There we go. And now we're going to do the gray squirrel. And this is a little less than the black. We're going to stack it. If you feel you have too much, peel some off. There we go. Now we'll finish this off. And we'll whip finish. Now for some UV. Okay, there's our orange riffle. In retrospect, I probably could have put a bit heavier black for the wing, but it still works the way it is. You're getting a nice splay from the gray. It's going to look good on top of the water. That orange throat is going to show up quite well. So if you want to try riffle hitching for steelhead, you know, it works pretty well the same as some of the other techniques that use a floating fly. A riffle hitch is probably going to do exactly the same job. It's up on surface and it's waking. So that's why we left all that space at the front. So there's room to tie on the riffle hitch knot. So there you go, the orange riffle. Cheers.